a lot of videos for production and people who are producers and upcoming producers. And now I'm had the privilege with me right now is Mr. Lee, basically a legend in Houston and Louisiana, in Dallas. So I just want to get started with it and just ask you, like, about how old were you when you decided to start doing the music, man?
Like 19, but I've been doing music since I was 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what was one of your biggest influences as far as like getting started with music?
Of course, it had to be like Dr. Dre, Mike Dean, Joe, John Beto from Rap a Lot.
Really?
You know, those are the cats music that I studied when I was a kid.
Really? Now, do you have like a musical background as far as like instruments, or were you more so in the like DJing and like production from that aspect of it?
I played a lot of instruments. I was in the McDonald's marching band
Oh, wow.
in 1990, 89, 90.
Okay.
And I've been playing the piano since I was 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom was a super piano player. That's how I got, involved with music, man. And it's basically with me, I was in the church all the time.
Yeah, that's why I came up here.
Now, I was looking at your history, man, and it looks like you're from Louisiana, right?
Yeah.
All right, you Pineville?
Yep.
All right, you know where Oakdale is, bro?
Absolutely.
That's where I'm from, man. So,
Oakdale is the federal penitentiary is at.
It's still up
where
there,
all
man.
of the trappers get caught at. Yes, indeed, I know Oakdale.
Yeah, man. So you might know some of the same people I know.
Absolutely, I'm gonna have to. If you said Oakdale, I'm gonna have to know them.
Yeah, I got family out there in Pineville, man. When I was reading that about you, I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's crazy because I have an uncle that has a church in Oakdale. I forgot the name
What's
of it.
Oh, okay.
And my pastor had a church out there in Oakdale too.
Really?
Yeah, my dad used to go up there and sing all the time.
Man, I'm telling you, you might know a lot of the
I
same
bet
people, bro.
we do, bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a small world, man. So, like, when you were coming up doing music, man, was your family supportive of your music? When
Absolutely,
you were doing it?
yeah.
Really?
Yes, indeed.
So, like, who was the biggest influence, like, as far as like your parents, as far as like, which one?
I mean, my mom and dad were, but my dad had the edge a little bit because he was a gospel singer, so
okay.
I used to travel with him everywhere.
Oh, really?
It was the show, you know what I mean? Like, little boy come out with dad was the beast on the mic, still is. So, you know what I mean? We used to go to different churches and stuff, and I come out, play for him, and we rip it up a little bit and stuff. So
Really?
that's how I kind of, built my chops up and performed and learned how to perform in front of people and all that kind of stuff.
Now, did you do any singing as well, man?
No, sir.
I feel you, man. So how'd you link up with Rap A Lot Records, man?
Man, I was programming on keyboards in the Guitar Center, and I met this guy named Lakewood that lived probably about a couple of miles down the street from, was it a work camp? I don't know what the name of the record store was, but Big Chief is the VP of Rap A Lot. He had a record shop out there in this subdivision called Lakewood.
Okay.
Out in Houston.
Okay.
And that's how I got plugged in with Rap A Lot. He knew somebody that worked there, and they plugged us in with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, what would you do your first beat on, man? What was that you used?
A TS-12.
Really?
Yeah, it's Sonic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have an ASR-10?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's classic
Yeah.
hip-hop foundation right there, the ASR-10. Anybody that does hip-hop, that really know from the school of hip-hop, the ASR-10 is like the grandfather of them. And it still producers that still use the ASR-10.
Yeah. It's
like,
got a sound to it, bro.
Yeah, it's unique. And it's hard to duplicate that. Like, I know Jake One still uses the ASR-10, man. So, it's a beast, man. So, like, when you link it up with Rap A Lot, what was that experience like for you, man?
Man, it was dope, man. I had got a couple of doors slammed in my face and, a couple of false promises around town in Houston before I linked up with Rap A Lot. And when I got with them, it was always like a family type of situation.
Really?
They brought me in. I was a dude out the street. I'm working in $1 million studios, getting keys and all type of stuff, man. So it was always like a family-oriented type of situation. Man.
Really?
Yeah.
That's dope, man. So, like, as far as, like, I know that a lot of rappers, sometimes they go through what they call writer's block. Being a producer, do you ever go in a situation where you get, like, beat block, where you have a hard time, like, sometimes coming up with the next idea for you?
Nah, if anything, I have a situations where I have too many ideas.
Okay.
And my mind is clogged.
Really?
And I'll walk away, or I'll start a track and just walk away from it and come back to it the next day. But I've never had a situation where I couldn't create something.
Really? Now, I was looking at some of your accolades, man, and it's amazing from some of the people that you work with. It's very diverse. I know that you've worked with Dwelle. You got tracks for Dwelle.
Yeah.
I even saw that you had tracks for Pop as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So did you actually know Pop?
No, I met him after. I met him.
I hope not.
Hell no. I did not meet this nigga, man.
Hell
Hell no. But anyway, I worked with this group, the Outlaws, after he passed away, and we were real close.
Okay.
And that's how I got in with Tom Wiley and Molly. That was managing his affairs at the time, and they brought me in to do the Black Jesus record.
Really?
Yeah.
Just going through here, man, I was just like looking at some of these lists that you got, man. You got stuff from Lil Kiki, you got stuff from Trader Truth, you got stuff Slim Thug, you even got stuff from AZ. Now that's like a little bit different, you know, seeing that particular one in there. How did that come about?
I had this guy that was managing me. His name Lee Resnick.
Okay.
And
I know about
he was
Lee
plugged. Yeah, he was plugged in with the label that AZ was on.
Really?
And AZ got a chance to hear some of my music, and he picked up a track, and that's how pretty much how that happened.
That's awesome, man. It's so good to be diverse, man, when especially in production, you know, because a lot of times producers, and there's nothing wrong with having a certain sound that you can tell, but the same thing, at the same time, you want to be able to transverse, you know, through generations or whatever in different genres. So that's amazing what you did with that. That being said, man, I know that you're working right now. You got a lot of stuff on the Nipsey Hussle, working with him.
Yeah.
Now, how did that relationship come about with you and Nipsey, man?
Lee Resnick.
Really?
Lee Resnick and Johnny Shipes, they knew each other, and that's how I got plugged in. And when Nip had did a mix trap record to Gotta Be a G, which is a record that I produced with Kiki.
Right.
And he redid it and shot a video to it, and that's how I ended up linking up with it.
Oh, wow.
We've been knowing each other and kicking it since 2007.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like, when I hear the Blue Laces 1 and the Blue Laces 2, I mean, the sounds, like, you know, amazing when it comes to the sample and the track. Like, where's that sample from, bro?
That's a Willie Hutch sample.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, noticing, like, when I heard Blue Laces 1, I was blown away because, like, the production on it was stellar. Your kicks were on point. And I was like, how's he going to do this with the second one? And you used the same sample, but you flipped it.
Yeah.
Now, what was your mind frame when you were in the studio producing that one?
He just told me, Nip called me and he told me that he wanted to do Blue Laces too. And he's like, hey, man, you just use the same sample. I was like, yeah, I'm going to use the same sample. No doubt, I'm going to use it.
Right.
But it's just, you know, it's just a gift of being able to hear things different ways.
Really?
I could sample a song 5 or 6 different times and flip it a different way, and it never sound the same.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, say for example, like I like to ask this from a lot of producers: if you were stranded on a desert island with electricity, and you had 3 pieces of gear, what 3 pieces of gear do you take with you, and why?
A keyboard.
Which one?
Probably do an 88 key weighted MPC drum machine, the MPCX, and a laptop. Yeah.
And you in there?
That's it. That's
okay. So, being that you produce, you engineering and things like that, what's your favorite mic to use?
A U87.
Industry standard, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you could say, for example, what your favorite FX plugin, what would it be?
Right now, my favorite plugin to use right now is, really, it's the SSL channel strip from UAD.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I use to mix with.
UAD is a monster right there, man. Those plugins are vicious.
Yeah,
man.
dude. And being the guy that came up in the 90s and working on the actual boards, it's crazy. Mixbus is dope too. I don't know if people mentioned it, but Harrison Mixbus is like real super dope.
Really?
Yeah.
So as far as like your Mount Rushmore, with say for example your 5 producers, you can include yourself or whatever. Who do you think they would be? From your standpoint.
You know what? It'd be Dr. Dre,
Okay.
DJ Premier, Kanye West, Moby, and man, let me see who else. I had to put Mike Dean on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So as far as like newer producers right now, who are you vibing right now? Who's one of the people that you're checking for right now?
Mustard is dope.
Mm-hmm.
Mustard's dope.
Definitely got a distinct sound.
Yeah, Mustard's real dope. And the Eardrummers
Mm-hmm.
with Mike Will, they're dope.
Oh, talking about me, bitch, you ain't saying enough. Bring this whole
Who else?
picture.
Drummer Boy still holding it. He's still holding it. So, people like that.
That's
But
what's
he's
up.
not new. Drummer Boy's not new.
Nah, you've been doing it
Yeah,
for a
he's
minute.
seasoned
Man. So, like, as far as from your perspective, man, how do you feel as far as the musical landscape in hip hop right now? Do you think that it's in a good place, or what do you see from your perspective?
I think it's in a good place.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I think that the problem is a lot of people don't like change.
Mm-hmm.
And people that are planted in a certain type of situation, in a certain vibe, when it's disrupted or changed,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't like that. And that's where it comes with the complaining about mumble rap and trap music and all this kind of shit. But we were getting the same thing when we started changing the landscape of hip hop, when it came, especially when it came down to the South.
Mm-hmm.
And we started doing the things that we were doing. It was called we was country, we was this, we was that.
Country bumpkin
Yeah,
rap,
so,
all this other stuff,
it
right?
just, when change come in, a lot of people they're not willing to open their mind and identify with what it is.
Mm. So, as far as like you being, a producer, do you find yourself adopting any of the new trends as far as like with production or anything like
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. You know what I mean? All of the tricks of the trade, you got to stay up on top of that so you can reinvent yourself. So of course I have to, look at what's hot and see how I can incorporate into what I do.
Yeah, and that's kind of leads to my next question, because when we're talking about that, being a producer, I know that like sometimes when sound change or whatever, how do you stay relevant as far as and make sure that your sound doesn't sound dated? What do you do?
Just really just peep the scenes, hear
Mhm.
listen to what's really going on, so I can incorporate newer sounds, more futuristic type of stuff. I've been doing like the EDM type sound of stuff back
Oh,
in the
really?
days. I've been doing that since the '90s. Like when
Oh,
you
wow.
hear the bass lines from a lot of records I did in 2004 or 5, you can hear rave bass lines in it. So I was already doing that type of shit.
Really?
So it really is, it's all about just making sure that you can do what you do the best.
Right.
And then, that's really what it's about.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So like production wise, and I know that you've heard a lot of albums. Is there one particular album as far as production wise that you can listen to front and back, no matter how many times?
Yeah. Kendrick Lamar's one.
Which one?
The last one that he just put out.
The Damn album?
Yeah, I can listen to that front to back without hitting the button. Man, there's somebody else too. Of course, Nipsey Hussle. Gotta say that, and I'm not being biased. He got those records, bro.
They resonate, man.
Dave East is another dude that you can put him in and listen to him from beginning to end,
Mhm.
and you don't have to touch it.
You heard that new one he got with Royce the 5'9"? It's tough.
He dope, bro.
That's a tough.
I'm trying to get something on his album right now.
Really?
Yeah,
That what do you think about that Prime album?
it's dope.
Yeah.
It's dope. Man, that dude, he's thorough, bro.
Yeah.
You know what? When you listen to him, you would think that he's a lot older than what he is,
Right.
because he's seasoned.
It's something like that that's in his voice that you can just
Yeah.
tell, like, this dude ain't fronting. This is who he is.
Yeah.
And that's what's beautiful about like some artists, man. When it's not a for show or facade or anything like that, when it's pure, it don't matter. It's gonna rise to the top,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
that's being real with your music.
Yeah.
So, like, I know that this is actually one of the questions when I came here. I know you were doing your school thing, and I was pretty, excited to ask you about it. So, the school that you're doing right now, what's it about?
Mainly what it's really about is giving back and making sure that I'm planting seeds that are going to grow. Because we're in the industry right now where a lot of people are getting taken advantage of. They don't know the business.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the rules of the business that they're in. And sometimes they don't even know how to be 100% creative in the things that they're doing, because they don't know how to get to that point. They don't know how to get from one point to the next.
Right.
So I critique everything I hear.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this shit 22 years. So I looked at it like, you know what? I can sit here and critique shit and say, oh, this wasn't done right. They didn't roll off enough hertz off this 808 that's noisy.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can put myself in a situation to give my knowledge to people so that they can learn it and they can keep it moving. And I think it's very important that that happens because, you know, 1 millionaire and a bunch of small people with a little bit of change ain't gonna do our industry no good. If we don't have power in numbers, we're gonna lose. And I'm trying to make my contribution to that so we don't.
So what's the name of the school?
It's XMG School of Music and Business.
And how can people get in?
They can reach me on my social media. Mr. Lee 713 is my social media for Instagram and Twitter. They can hit me up on Facebook, producer Mr. Lee. We have the XMG School of Music and Business Facebook that they can message. And if they want to get in touch with us, they can get in touch with us that way.
So what projects are you working on besides the school right now?
Nipsey's working on a new album.
Oh, already?
Yeah, we're trying to.
Damn.
Yeah, we're trying to drop one in December. Trying to drop it in December, so we're
Okay.
working on that right now.
All right. Blue Laces 3, maybe?
Hey, who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? See if we can do it again.
All right.
And I got I have another big artist that I'm working with that I can't disclose who it is. You know,
Oh, wow.
they don't want me to say who it is right now. So
Okay.
I'm doing that. I've been working on the LL Cool J project for about 3, 4 years.
Oh, he's coming back?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I got a crazy record with him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I also have my album Power that I'm gonna be dropping later this year.
Okay. Got you. Well, I don't have any more questions for you, man. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to get this interview, man. It's my first time to Houston. First time in Dallas, and first time in Dallas I got to meet Mr. Lee, so I'm a pretty lucky dude. So we gonna pull up and have a good time after this interview, man. Thank you again. Appreciate it. Restore the clarity.